Yeah, listen to that, man. What is happening, my friends out there in YouTube land? Yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. And right now I got the PRS SE plugged straight into the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe George Benson signature mount. And all tube, nothing's in between. It's just guitar right into the amp. And what I'm going to do, and I've got the overdrive set up on here. So it just has, there's something about a tube amp, especially the Fenders. They just have this certain warmth to it that, man, I don't care what technology gets close, but it's never going to duplicate it because there's a certain feel that you just can't get. And I love all the units that I'm using. Great. But if I were to say, if I wanted to use just a tube amp, just plug into a tube amp because you're just not going to get it. Technology is doing good, but it's not going to duplicate that 100%. So that's sustained. And in this particular guitar, the sweet spot is one of the standout sweet spots is on the high E string, 8th fret, note C. It'll just go right up to that next octave higher. Nice blues for a blues tone, works great. Now for a jazzy tone, let's see if I clean it out. And then with the coil splits, just had a neck pickup. Set in the middle, I like with the switch, both pickups. Now, it's a little trick me and my friends used to do. We would do it on the Brit neck pickup, but I'm going to do it on the bridge pickup. Well, I'm going to just turn down, roll back the tone knob, and leave both volumes on the pickups up, and then the neck pickup tone all the way up. Now I'm going to cancel the coil splits and just go full humbucker. Try to simulate the mellow tone of a hollow body, and I could get it 100% without having the hollow body. Just like you're not going to duplicate the sound of nylon strings with a synthesizer. You get close, but you're not going to get it 100% exact because there's a different feel, and that different feel is going to dictate the tone. The slap back on the spring reverb is great. It's got a really nice tone, and again, it's just the guitar straight into the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe George Benson model, nothing in between. So, the guitar just has a natural amount of sustain, and of course the amp has got something to do with it too, because of the way that these are voiced. But and these pickups are just the stock pickups, and it is an SE. What's happening, guys? What is happening? Thank you, Drainage. What's happening? Thank you so much for tuning in. The coil splits on this guitar really are different than other coil splits I've played before. So it almost, now again, it's almost like on my Fender Strat, which I haven't played in years. I do have it in the other room. I gotta totally restring it. I mean, but it's all 3 single coil. I mean, it's not doing exactly that. And when I have the bridge pickup on, and if I would have had the bridge pickup full on my Fender Strat, there's definitely a difference. But when I put the switch in the middle and both pickups are on coil split, I do get this unique sound. Gotta be careful, right? So it really does have a uniqueness to it. And then another trick is if you raise or lower your pickups, you're going to get this different, especially when you have them in the middle. You switch in the middle and you're calling both pickups are on. Or, and in conjunction with this, let's say you lower this part of your bridge pickup, but you leave this high. So you're balancing out between your highs and your lows, basically. And you get a different tone, obviously. And especially when you call the middle. This is why, for this reason, on the tone options, I like guitars that with like the Les Paul setup with 2 volumes and 2 knobs. because when you have the switch in the middle, now you get all these options that you really can't get with just a single volume and a single tone. Um, you get a little more flexibility with two volumes and one tone, but still, when you got all four, you really there's a wide range you get, you know. And again, especially when you call the overdrive. Now this amp is only rated at 40 watts, but it's 40 watts, 2 watts. So it gets loud, man. It gets real loud. But that hum this has, man, this singing sustain. So I pull this up. No, that's with the chord split. Without the chord split. So it does have it's got a lot of gusto to it, man. So I'm gonna put this. Well, let's see. I'll put it back down. I'm gonna put it right there. This down a little bit. Before I get into my topic, I want to talk about. Yeah, there we go. I got a little short cord. I gotta get. See, we're starting using the wireless system again. The Shure guitar wireless. We used to use the Sennheisers, which they're great. Sennheisers, man, like for consumer wireless, they're like in the top of the line, man. But the last one that we have, we bought, maybe 12 years ago to replace the other Sennheiser we had. So about 12 years ago, we paid what, $600 for it. Now that same model is like $1,200, man. So the Shure wireless we got now is the in-between price. It's like $360 or whatever, and it does a good job. I like my little X5 and Joe Winch, the Joe Winch project. Yeah, he did a shootout with the two budget-friendly wireless, and I forget the other brand he was using. It did do a really good job. My X5, I'll use it. My last gig at Diamond Heads, when I was throwing the guitar around, I was using that in particular. But I could tell they're not just a certain distance, but it seems to lose its tone a little bit within the hour, you know, and it's got to be recharged. You will notice a difference on budget-friendly wireless systems that especially when you're sustaining notes, the tone, there's variations in tone. And even when you're using a cord on a good cord versus a wireless. If you're using a cheaper cord but a really good wireless system, yeah, the really good wireless system is going to kind of outshine the cheap cable, guitar cable. It's all preference. And doing live performances when I'm strolling around, you know, playing to people, you know, there's a lot of people that like that because there's a lot of people down here from our era and from my age group. Let me see if I straighten this out. I'm having a coffee. This was was handed out at the end of the school year last year. But yeah, this PRS guitar, I'm really digging it, man. Really digging it. I think I might have solved my string breakage. I got some wax crayons, not Crayola brand, the cheapest at Walmart half like 75 cents, and I just waxed right where the saddle is, right where that notch is, and obviously I did not pop any strings at last week's gig, which is a good thing, because I think what it really is that not just the humidity, I just think my right hand got so strong from the decades of all my picking exercises, man. You know, I'm just popping strings, wearing out my guitar picks, you know. wearing the picking out. And then, as we get older, your tastes start to change a little bit too. And then being an instrumentalist, I'm doing more of a vocal melody and playing more melodically than just on full on shredding. So, you know, it is what it is, and I like what I do. Period. Now, the topic I want to talk about with, as I put in the description, is pricing your gigs and creating those opportunities for yourself. I like to give a shout out to Tim Conley Drums. Actually, I want to clarify something here. I think at my last live stream I did pertaining to gigging, what I said was that pertaining to being an original artist and selling your music, he had put up on one of his videos that it's almost impossible to do. He is definitely partially right. And the reason I'll explain why I say partially right, because a lot of the clubs, they're there they're there to buy. People are there to drink, and the club owner is there to sell the liquor. That's the bottom line, and nobody really cares. So he's 100% spot on that, and I'm sure he knows because he does the theater gigs, and he does some tribute bands, and everything he's basically saying is spot on. But if you position yourself with selling a style of music, let's say you want to be part of the blues society or the jazz society or create a metal society, you're basically, you could basically mix your covers with your originals, or mix your originals with the covers. But at the same time, you could also do nothing but originals and just package this and sell this as it's a it's a jazz fest, it's a blues fest, or it's a show spotlighting this particular style of music. I'm not saying you get filthy stinking rich, but you're not get filthy stinking rich either with the some of the other outlets as well. So that's why I meant by I partially agree with him. When we would do all the for hire gigs, we would definitely, it was people would hire us. When I say us, it's always my wife and I, based on the style of music that I was playing. And then they found out it was my originals, like, oh, this is great. So that's what I mean. There are exceptions to the rule. There really is. I want to see.
Hey, did you see this with Randy Tritt?
No, I didn't.
He said, I got an American Fender Strat with the Texas Special pickups in it. It sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah, Randy. Those sound excellent, man. Yeah, those sound great. With the Texas Specials, oh, man. Yeah, they have a unique tone. They have a unique tone, man. So that guitar is a keeper, man. See, I have a Mexican-made Fender Strat. Bought it in 1996. Actually, what I did was, I still have I call it the dumpster guitar. The guitar I literally found in a dumpster. It's an Ibanez RG. And I had one just like it before, but it was the dot inlays. The one I have now has got the shark tooth inlays. So, but I was having problems with the trim staying in tune. So, I wanted more of a Strat sound, and then I traded. I did an even trade with the Ibanez. I think it's the RG 350 or whatever it is, deluxe. And I traded it for a Fender Mexican-made Strat, and with the really crappy tuners, but for some reason they stay in tune. And so it's just a stock pickups. But what you have, that's a keeper, man. That is a keeper. Okay. Yeah, we are doing fine. Yep, we are doing fine, my friends. So, just rocking when you can. Yeah, Randy, I hear you, brother. I hope all is well with you and your health and everything, man. I remember you went with that gunshot wound. It takes. Tell you what, you get any type of wound, man, the body's got to heal. And as we get older, it takes longer. It's just the law of physics, right? The cup is a Starbucks. It was a free cup. I got decaf coffee. So I'm not really a big Starbucks fan. I respect them. I'll never forget when we were still living in Chicago. And this is years and years ago, way before I met my wife. When Starbucks opened up in the Chicagoland area, and I went to buy a coffee. All I wanted was a large coffee, cream and sugar. And this poor girl, I mean, they're being trained the new way, right? And man, it was like pulling teeth. She was saying grande with frosty, and I was like, no, just a coffee. It's a regular coffee, cream and sugar, man. Here, I'll go back and make it and pour it myself, man. And it was expensive. I think at the time it was like $5, maybe it was $6. It was absolutely horrible, man. What the hell is this crap? So, I'm sure they improved, but now it's like a cup of coffee at Starbucks is like $8, and you get the little urine cup sample size. Yeah. Oh, I just, you know what? I just lost that. That comment. Oh yeah. The nerves in your leg. That 40. Yeah. Yeah. Straw the nerves up. It hurts. Yeah, some days. Yeah, Randy, I'm so sorry for you, brother. I am so sorry for that, man. It's not. It's not easy. Yeah. We just try to move forward and do the best we can, man. That's all we can do. So, and then I seen another video with this guy Bad Brad. A lot of people now are starting to really come out and talk about trying to make music your full-time deal. And when it really was working the best is when you were able to sell music. We were able to sell CDs, and now you're more of like you're a CD, you're a merchandise salesperson. Whether you got T-shirts and cobs and mugs and that, stickers, whatever, than you are in the music, because now everything is free. However, I did see a video today. I think the guy, his channel is music making money or something to that. Music money makeover. And he was saying that within the next few years, some of the streaming might almost go to the wayside. Something else is called direct to client. I think it's called. The abbreviation is D, the number 2, and C, direct to client. Streaming or sales, where it might start to slowly go back where people are going to have to start to buy music. It's going to help everybody. Let's see. Let's see. Randy says, yes, I'm just going to play music and hope it heals someday. Yeah, and it's real difficult, man, because as you know, all our nerves in our body are connected. So you're going to start to realize, wow, I can't do what I used to do. I have to kind of reevaluate myself or reinvent myself. Okay, I don't know what that is. Hold on, guys. I gotta see something. It's right here. Sometimes the little goes get now. So I don't think that's what that is. No, that's just cat fur. If anyone is familiar with the little geckos, the little lizards, once in a great while they get in the house. And it's like only one. They freak out when they see the cats. The defense that the gecko has, they drop their tail, and the tail wiggles while the gecko gets away. Now, the little geckos, they can camouflage themselves, they can chameleon themselves into any color. So we have a beige colored carpet. Well, they could change their body to beige to match it, so to throw off. But no, that's just a piece of cat fur. I gotta just eat. I'll tell you what, man. They're like little people. Let me plug this back in. So I didn't mean to get off track here, guys. I apologize. So what I was getting at is that what Bad Brad was talking about. He had a situation where, and this was like on one of his last videos. A parent, couple of parents were coming up to me asking him, since he relocated down here to Florida from Nashville, and he was doing some session, working a lot of gigs in Nashville, and and actually doing pretty well, and doing some of the touring and that. And I guess some parents asked him, about their. It sounds like about their daughter. Saw the video, and Brad was saying, well, yeah, she definitely has the passion and the drive. And I guess the parents were saying, what should we do? She wants to make a career out of music, and blah blah this and blah blah that. And Brad said that the parents were stunned with his response. His response was, tell her to stay in school, get an education, get a job. And I thought, man, he was straight up with them. Because you see, the thing is, it's a different world we're in right now. And the norm of the days of old, what is happening? John Dawson, how you doing here, brother? Hope you're well too, man. Thank you. Sorry, guys. The type is real small. It's getting smaller as the years are passing by. So he told the parents this, and the parents were like pretty much like, wow. And I guess the parents made a comment, yeah, well, maybe our daughter could get into doing studio session work in Nashville. Now, you would think so. And his response was, now he knows because he's been to Nashville, doing among some of the studio sessions. I don't know how much he's done, but he was not the main guy, and he even said that. But he said, I'm going to tell you right now, something like there's 4 or 5 main studio guitarists and 4 or 5 main studio drummers, and of course there's, more. He says all of them are male. There's no females. Okay, and I guess the parents were taken back by, oh, wow. They're trying to get his advice on something positive to tell their daughter, to encourage her to go on. And sometimes parents, they'll get excited, and it's like a way for them to relive their youth and their dreams through their kids. And when Brad was telling the parents this, they're like, oh, wow, it almost gave me the impression that they gave him the impression that there's, doom and gloom. And that's not what he was doing. What he was doing was being very, very straightforward. And that's what people need to hear, straightforwardness. And it's not to deter people or to discourage people from, reaching out for their dreams and their passions and, being hopeful. No, that's not it. It is a different world we're living in. The young kids, they get it because the younger kids, they're born into this. But mom and dad are the ones that got up front because they're still kids, right? So mom and dad, even if they were born, let's say, well, if the kid's 15 years old, let's say, chances are that the parents are going to be a little bit older. Maybe they were born in the 80s, maybe they were born in the 70s, So the parents at least had some experience through the 90s where there was, when people would go to record stores and buy records. Some of us are older, who were born in the 60s, we've experienced what we saw through the 70s growing up and then through the 80s, and everyone was going out and everyone was having a good time, and it was something to go out. It was really special. Watch older videos of 50s, especially if you watch stuff like or even see older movies that were in the 40s and the 30s. And we noticed some people go out there all dressed up. That was the thing to do. And things got more and more lax, but at least to the 90s and even early 2000s, and that, people were still going out and people were buying music. And then when music became free, it changed everything. So, getting back to what Brad was saying, and this is going to lead into what I've got to say about this, because I've got a little bit of experience dealing with one student in particular. And I'll get to that moment. But he was, basically letting the parents know. And honestly, none of these people were. It's Tim Conley drums. He gives a lot of his experience gigging out up in Canada. And even though it's different areas, there's going to be some differentials. Now there will be, because depending on your where you live geographically in your area, there are some differentials. But for the most part, there's a lot of similarities, because as we know, YouTube's worldwide, right? Free music now is worldwide, right? So that being said, when they say the things they say, they're not trying to be discouraging. They're just letting you know so you don't get hit with a, man, I didn't know about this, and people start draining all their savings, and especially when it's parents and they're trying to help their kids, you know, and sometimes, I hate to say this, but sometimes people get fooled real easy, and that's what's real sad when you see that. Now, when I was teaching back in Aurora, Illinois, I was fortunate because the Guitar Heroes video game was real popular. And man, I had all kind of guitar students. And I had parents who used to play. And then, as life gets older, you get married, you have kids, you have a family. Now you got to put your dreams and passion aside until you retire. You come down to Florida, retire, and you're singing at the bars, We see a lot of it down here. Anyways, the parents would try to relive their lives again through their kids. And I've seen a couple times when it's not really a good idea, You gotta let the kids be themselves. You can't say, see, when I was your age, and, getting back with the Guitar Heroes video game and whatever songs, I think they had Iron Maiden. Yeah, some Iron Maiden songs, and Black Sabbath and that, this is what you got to learn. This is real rock. Okay, but there's a new generation, especially the European metal, that a lot of kids who are in the metal sector, they gravitate toward. And the worst thing parents could say, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but what will discourage someone from moving forward and learning is the parent or the teacher. That's not real music. It's like, okay, because kids right away will put up a gate right away. I've seen it. When I was teaching these kids, and I had a couple of students that want to learn these Taylor Swift songs, and I'm just not a big fan of Taylor Swift. I respect her, and the reason why I say that, when I would have her music book, right on the top of, next to the song and words of music by Taylor Swift, at least she wrote her music in that. It was really ironic because the book that one of my students brought in, it was all, it had the chords on the top, and the notation, underneath the notation, the tablature, was all vocal melodies. All vocal melody. And I thought, you know what? This is smart, because if a person really cannot sing, no matter how hard they try, or if they want to learn to sing, have an instrument, learn the notes, play it on the guitar or whatever instrument you're playing, in this case the guitar, and try to tune your voice. That's a good practice way. If you don't have the money to take vocal lessons, you're taking guitar lessons, and you're involved in dance and theater, and then you're on the soccer team. I've seen all this, man. A lot of these parents, they put these kids in everything from marble shooting, roll the dice, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, all at once. The kid comes in, and he's got the hockey stick, and he's got the catcher's mitt, and he's got the football helmet on. I know I'm kind of exaggerating here, but they're involved in everything. And it's because the parents are trying to get the kids into something, something positive, and also trying to relive their youth through the kids. So now the kids, they're in their teenagers, and now they're getting ready to graduate high school, and they got their mindset, and they want to be a musician. And this is where it could get very, very tricky. So that video that Brad put up when he was straightforward with the parents about staying in school, getting a career, going to trade school, whatever, and then getting a job and that, bingo. But it does not end right there. And here, let me rephrase this. It does not have to be the creative killer, I'll never make it in music, because you have to define the term making it. See, we were when we were back in the '80s, when we were younger, we were all given the notion about making it. You have to do this. You make a demo tape, you send it in, blah blah blah. You chase this person, you chase that person, and that person's gonna who knows somebody through this person, and everything was this like trail. You're chasing things. When I met Deb, when we got married, and she helped me with my music, one of the things she said was the most smartest thing I've ever heard anybody say, and I suspected it, but I didn't really know it. When she said, music is a business like any other business, it's just a different type of business, but it's going to involve money. And as the old saying goes, it takes money to make money. It's just a different type of a product. That's basically it. And how she started to take over and booking me all these shows. Because, doing the classical guitar, classical flamenco guitar, and the jazz fusion, far removed from doing the metal circuit. Because when you're doing the metal circuit, or let's say the rock or pop, when you're doing the club circuit, it's like a different mindset, and that has been, for decades, been kind of, how you say, imposed on us, that's the way to go. Someone from California or from Hollywood is going to magically appear. There was a time when that did happen, but it's no longer. They're going to be there sitting there, they're going to sign you, they're going to watch you. So you chase that dream, you wait for those phone calls that never come in. But what Deb did was, she said, there's another outlet here. Let's do this outlet. And then when those phone calls come, we could be ready for that. But in the meantime, instead of sitting and staring at the old telephone and waiting for it to ring, go out and do for yourself. Create yourself, create your name, create your reputation, build that reputation. Good musician, easy to work with, and all of that good stuff. So let me, and that's going to really help. I think parents really need to hear that, because there is another avenue for music. And I'll get into ideas of how you could price yourself. I can't give you the exact numbers. Deb knows all those, but I could give you kind of ballpark figures. So, but anyways, let me stay on track here. The student that I had, one in particular, I think she was 15 years old. I'll just say her first name, Jennifer. I think her name was Jennifer. She was taking classical guitar lessons with me. She likes hip hop. She had a natural way of finger picking. Within the first few months, you write things out for the students, right? And hopefully they go home and practice and then, evolve on that. Well, she told me she never really practices. She's straightforward, honest. So our lessons were an hour with her. And I write something out, and I would, work things out. A lot of it fingering exercise and scales, I'm going to put in a clean sound. Well, if you do finger picking, without bringing out the Cordova, I'm stuck on something. Go figure, right? So a lot with your 2 fingers or 3 fingers. If you're doing 3 notes per string, I personally use 3 fingers. One of the things I showed her was real simple to get these 2 to sync up with each other. And it was based off A minor, starting with the E. E, F, G, A, B, C, and played in a circular motion. So it was literally on the 5th fret position. I was showing her to get real smooth dexterity. I said, and some books will show you this, and it's still good, where they'll show you this, and it's just, as the introduction to, let's say, this type of a scale, playing a circular motion. But what happens is you're repeating a note. I said, now if you want to just do a continuous cycle of playing, this is a real good way of doing it. So she would do that. I kid you not, by the end of, she would loop it for a while, take a little break, talk, loop it for a while, take a break. By the end of the lesson, when she first started doing this, and now the reason why I'm emphasizing this, and you'll see why I'm emphasizing this. At the beginning of it, she's like this. Focusing. By the end of the lesson, that day, same day, within the hour, she's doing this smooth, real smooth. That girl had her focus factor was like laser sharp, man, laser sharp, and she was able to start to do things similar to this. The tremolo, which is very difficult to teach, but she just had it naturally. It can be very, very difficult. The secrets of really nailing technique, it really is slow movement. And I know people who say, yeah, but you're not going to get used to speed. You'll get used to speed. But if you're going to concentrate only on speed, when you play fast, it's going to be sloppy. And then you got to go back and clean things up. And then let's say you're going to do a performance. Now you have to play a passage in the music where it's very, very, slow, not too slow, but it's very, very even. Let's say, and I'm going to use the pick here. Let's say you could do a melody like this. The value of those notes have to be spot on, especially if you're doing vocal melody. You have no idea how, and then this is going to lead into part of why I'm bringing this up with the student. When we would do these wedding gigs, and these brides would pick these songs that I'd have to play while she's walking down the aisle, and all they got vocal melodies. Some of them, when they're very monotone, I would have to actually create the melody to the chords because it was just, the person singing, and I'm playing like one note. It's like, oh, this ain't gonna work, So I had to put a lot of play very melodic, but it's got to be spot on. That is a really good way to build your technique because when you develop your speed, it becomes very, very, not just fluidly fast, but it's clear. It's not all messed up. This is what helped me get real fast, but real clear, is that. But let me get back to the point I'm getting at. So this girl, she's got this ability to do this. And she took lessons with me for a couple of years, maybe it was 3 years. She was right up to before we came down here. I think she took lessons up till she was 18. 15, 18, 3 years. So, like her 16th birthday or 17th birthday, I think it was, her parents wanted to buy her another guitar. And they didn't have a whole lot of money, but they didn't want to go super cheap. And they were looking at a couple of nylon string guitars, and they happened to have a used Cordoba. I think it was a C5. Not the one, I don't think this is the one that made in China. Yeah. And I think it was, was it made like maybe $400 used. And it did come with the gig bag. And I was playing it, I'm like, yeah, this is nice, man. This would be good. But I let her play it. There's another thing that I would tell the parents. And again, this is if they want to buy a guitar. Yeah, I want to, surprise my son or daughter. I want to buy them a guitar, whether it's electric, acoustic, whatever. Just want to, when they come home from school, boom, there it is. I said, that's nice. I said, but, well, see, now you could take things back. You know, you got like 30 days, 40 days, whatever. But back in the 80s, as soon as you walk out the door, it's yours, man. You turn around and bring it back. Oh, it's used. I didn't even play it yet. No, sorry, it's used. You know, different times now. But I would tell the parents, the best thing to do is go to the music store and let your son or daughter, you know, play the guitar. Let them feel it. Let them hold it. Because they're going to be the ones playing it. And if the neck's too wide or too short or too narrow or it's too uncomfortable, that ain't going to happen. The practice is going to diminish. So, I go to the music store or over the Guitar Center and pick out a guitar. And I told the parents, and she picked it out. She liked it, you know, and I was playing it because I met them there. So, as she's playing, and she was still timid to play in front of anybody, and I just said, no, I said, Jennifer, just do what you feel, but just so you get the feel of the guitar. And she's playing some stuff, and I said to the mom and dad, I says, look at her hands. I said, she's got this natural. I said, here's the reality. If your daughter wants to do this, and I'm not going to make promises that this could happen, but the potential is so strong with her. If she wants to pursue this style of music, especially the classical world, I said, she's got a strong potential of her first job being a guitarist as opposed to her first job, you know, Wendy's or McDonald's or Burger King or, you know, a grocery store or something, you know what I mean? Because her focus factor was very, very strong. I mean, I've never seen anyone with a focus factor, especially in that age category in my life. I'm like, whoa. She was inspiring me, man. I'll tell you that. And I said, the reason why I say this with this style of music, I'm not saying this is the dream gig, but I'm going to say for the sake of, can I make money with music? And would I be able to say, this isn't too bad at all? Maybe I will try this. With these wedding gigs and these corporate gigs, these are for hire gigs. These are people with money. These are people, this is where you're going to make your money. And for people that know this or who have done these gigs, you know what I'm talking about. And I said to the parents, I said, if you think about it, I'm not saying it's just going to be like every week, or it could. Because the reality is she's a young female getting into this world of this style of music where the norm is like years advanced, you know, and she's able to do this now. And people who love this kind of music, they're very much for helping young kids get involved of, let's say, classical music or the jazz society or the blues society. And there's a reason why I'm saying this, because these are your outlets that it's not about so much about being a star. Yeah, you can be the star. It's more about preserving this style of music. And if you think about it, you could apply this to really any style of music. It's only a matter of getting the ball started and running with it. And it's going to take money, of course. If people want to start a bluegrass society or a country music society, you know, a group of guitarists where we're going to start this. Well, like down here, it's called Island Hopper. I've never been involved in it. It's original songwriting. They want people to sing, okay? I could go in there with an instrumental, but yeah, no, it's not because they don't understand. That's fine. I'm not knocking it. That's fine. So, my point is that in this type of world of music, this is where you could start to create your own business, get it started. You know, she's young, she's still in school, mom and dad's flipping the bills. You could start is they asked us questions how we were doing, how we would advertise for our business and our service. It's like you're becoming a service business, but a service business with music. And the people, they're out there. They might not be hiring you every weekend or every month, but they're out there. And once you get that ball rolling and you continue on, you'll start building up your reputation, and then you'll be the person that they start seeking to hire, because now you've just built up a nice portfolio. You got a history of, not only you're a good musician, you're easy to work with, you know how to balance the pricing where you're making money and they're saving money. That's another thing. That's what I was talking about with the pricing. And I'm going to get into that now, this segment right now. And when I told the parents that, they were really thinking about that. But then, as time goes on, she wants to move on and do other things, and we move down here, and that's fine. But the point is that for any parents that come to me with these ideas, the advice Brad said was 100% spot on. And then I would also tell the parents, I said, look, there is more than just the clubs, the bars, or the, audition for American Idol or The Voice or America's Got Talent. And I'm not trying to discourage anybody from doing that. You go for it. But also do not rule out that there's another world out there where you can make money. You start doing this now. You can start to get that ball rolling. And I'm not just talking about the bars and the clubs and all that. Here's my advice. If for newbies doing the bar gigs, show respect to the club owner, show respect to the other musicians, because everybody really is working together. But just kind of watch out how much involved in the other part of it, because it exists, and it's nothing bad on the club owner or anything like that, because it is what it is. When people drink, some people cannot handle their liquor, and or some people also come up with these stories, and they lead you on. This is where you got to watch for. Some people, they mean well. They're not meaning to hurt anyone. They're just trying to relive part of their youth or their ambitions. But when you're new to this, and they could talk the talk, it could kind of draw you in. And that's what you got to be careful. The best advice is to look at it like you're budgeting, the way you budget your bills for your family. You're on a budget, and you're planning everything out. Now you got a new thing and put to this budgeting equation. It's called music. I'm going to try to pursue this, as a lifestyle. Well, budget it out. So you got to watch money. The biggest thing that gets people is they go on a spending spree because the money's rolling in, without letting their money roll in. And let's say the money's been rolling in, and let's say you saved up a few $1,000s in a separate account that's for your music. And for instance, you want to see a guitar if it's on sale, then I'd really like to get it. I'm not telling people what to do with their money. It's yours. You do what you want. But look at the reality of it. If you find something that's a little bit cheaper, just as nice, that you like just as much, grab that and have that other money sit in the bank. And just, build on your savings. As opposed to, wow, I got $2,000. I'm going to spend, $1,700 of that on something that, because I think it's going to get me more views on YouTube, or I might fit in with this in crowd or that in crowd, and you just, mindlessly go for it without really sitting down. Because usually what happens after that money is spent, then all of a sudden here's the buyer's remorse. Oh, it doesn't do what I thought it did. Well, how come this person got to do that? I don't understand. Then here comes the buyer's remorse. It's like, man, I shouldn't have spent the money. Another thing that you could do is, instead of spending money on that, save it for doing your stage shows or something like that, where you could see if you can turn a profit. It'll cost you money. This is why I say, keep that day job or that side business, or have other streams, other streams of income, because that's going to help you just with your cost of living. It's a different world we're in. What you could do when you price yourself out, Now, like I said, Deb does all that. But let's say, we would get these for hired gigs. And we would go from Aurora, Illinois down to Texas. Well, what Deb would do is, price everything, put it in the budget, and add the gas for it. And we'd try to add, if we were going to stay overnight somewhere in a hotel. We would not go over budget, or price gouge it. But we would not undercut ourselves either. And we gave ourselves wiggle room so that when we're in the negotiating stages, then we go back and forth. Well, we could try for this price, but let's see what's in your budget, and then negotiate that price, and come to the point where, all right, you're gonna save money, and we're gonna make money, win-win for both parties. And that's the best way that you could really do that. But if you're gonna do any traveling, from town to town, try to get the price per city or per town, and try to get that average, and maybe add a little on to it, because it could fluctuate. By the time you agree to doing the gig, that's going to be, let's say, 2 months down the road, and 2 months down the road, here's the gig, and the price of gas just went up even more. Now you kind of screwed yourself. You didn't give yourself that wiggle room, and just explain to the person that wants to hire you, I need to do this because of this reason. I'm going to be crossing like 3 or 4 states in my car, and I just got to make sure, and it's driving down and coming back, I got to make sure. And I'm going to tell you, when the 4 hire gigs, I want to say about 97-98% of the times, people, they understand. They get it. They're seeking you out because you are doing a specific style of music that they enjoy, or they enjoy your music, and that's why they want to hire you. So, see, this is where, if you're doing all original music that's in that style, the people are out there, and they will definitely hire you based on that. And especially if you're easy to work with, and you're right away, you understand they're on a budget and they're trying to save money, but they like to have some entertainment. Now, or if it's one thing in their house, okay, it's another thing when they're renting out a room. Now they got extra money spent, but usually people who do that, they have a nice budget. So this is an option where people could use, especially if you're a newbie to this, especially if you got parents with kids that have these ambitions. Hold on one second, guys. Not everything has to be the bar, and not everything is doom and gloom. Let's do something really quick here, guys. We've done so many of these types of gigs. For like 20, 25, 26 years. As well as, the club gigs, and when we were up in Illinois, we'd play at places like Penny Road Pub up in South Barrington, Illinois. And the reason why it was called Penny Road Pub, because it was a pub that was on the street, Penny Road. So, Penny Road Pub. It was more of the rock and metal. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Now, for people who, let's say you're not into blues, or you're not into jazz, or you're not into this, or not into that, but you're just a diehard metal fan. I am not going to tell you cannot do anything with it, because what I'm noticing is, as we're getting older, so are the metalheads. And when we do the music walk, and when I do some of the rock, when I'm rocking out, I'll look at someone that looks like they work for Merrill Lynch. Very conservative. And if I'm rocking out, yeah, man, they're right for it. They're reliving their youth, is what they're doing. So, I hope I don't forget this, because I wanted to touch on this one subject real quick. But let me just finish what I'm saying now. Is there a way that, like, there's a blues society, there's a jazz society, there'll be a heavy metal society. You don't know until you put it together. Because what is a society? A group of people that want to get together, like the group chats, right? I don't know. It sounds crazy for some people, but let's look at it where the rubber meets the road, down in simplicity. And the reason why I'm bringing this up because there's a lot of people that are out there would like that. A friend of mine, my old singer, Bill Bloodwin. He plays in a couple of tribute bands, but he also has his band Witchcross. He plays in the Ozzy tribute band as well. He's real good. He's real creative. He'll have Witchcross play at some of the VFWs, and when he can, he keeps his day job, and he's still able to do his passion. Nothing changed. As a matter of fact, I honestly, he's very good at it too. Very, very good at it. Like I put him right up there, one of the best. And what makes him one of the best is that he continues with his passion. He's not going to say, okay, now I got to learn to play a Taylor Swift song. I want, you know. No, he sticks to his guns. Well, you're not going to get that many gigs at clubs. We know that. But there are these other outlets, and this is what I'm saying, what people totally miss about these other outlets. They totally miss it. Because they're been fed, spoon-fed, like we've all been spoon-fed. You got to do this to make it. You got to just, well, describe making it. You know, a lot of the people that will do the tribute bands in theaters or the wedding gigs, or if you do stage shows, those are ticket sales, will make more money than some of these people that go out on these tours. And it's like, you're probably thinking, why is that? Well, see, now some of these videos are exposing all this. So if you want to put it as in dollars and cents, there is ways of doing that. And again, like I said, with the corporate gigs and the weddings and stuff like that, yeah. And like I said in my last video about branding yourself, and because I mentioned about my friend Bill Bloodwin and his band Witchcross, from what I see, he's doing this his way when he could afford to do it, and he's not gigging all the time, but he's still able to make some money and do his thing. And if that's the goal, then you go for it. And let's say you always wanted to do a show where it is your show, like a production, and your budget's very, very limited. Does that mean you cannot do it? No, I mean, you can. You just need to find the places that you're able to rent out the room. It's a good idea to have insurance. And, you know, if you're a very respectable person and a responsible person, you know, you might be taking a chance. Your first couple of shows, you might not break even. You might come out with a lose, or you might come out with a win. You don't know. But if it's your money and it's something that you want to do, then you could definitely go for it. And you don't know where it could take you. You know, half of these people, they got discovered, but they got discovered from someone else's money. If they had to do this themselves, and they have this idea, and you rewind back to the 80s, that they still might make it, because the whole point is they're getting their product, they're getting their music out there. And when you do that, people are like, hey, I kind of like this, man. You know, and they're going to be the ones deciding. What I was going to say before I forget, going back to what Brad had said about no, there's no girls in some of the doing the top session work in Nashville, and he was there. I wasn't. I mean, we spent one night in Nashville. Doesn't make me an expert. I'll tell you that right now, but he was there and he's seen it. And he made a comment, there's a lot of young female guitarists. Now, it's not like it was back then. Now they're getting pretty much mainstream. Well, the advantage that they'll have is that they could pull their resources together. And if they're being ousted, and if that's what it seems, I'm not gonna say it is, but let's say that no girls allowed, okay, they could kind of be screwing themselves because the girls could stick together, and now we got the female artists that say, you know what, girls stick together, right? Girl power and all that. Okay, we're gonna go this route. Plus, these people that have been with that mindset, they're getting older and they're getting older and they're getting older and getting older and getting older, and eventually they're gonna die off. And I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful. When they think one way and you're being told, let's say you want to go to national, you got daughters, and they're being ousted. When people pull together, it takes time, but when people pull together, sometimes you see results. I guess what I'm saying here is it's a different world. And if you look at your music as a product that you want to sell, as opposed to I want someone else to pull, string. I want to spend someone else's money, and I want to hang out with someone that knows this person, that knows that person, that knows this person, that has this connection with that person, that was once dating the janitor that used to clean up the now defunct theater that is no longer now. It's a shoe store. All these chains, these channels of these connections, that there are all these connections, but nothing's happening. Then you come along with money and you see a vacancy, a room vacant, or you see a part of a hotel that's got a banquet hall, empty banquet hall, for rent. We rent out this place, and you decide, hey, how much it costs to rent this place out? Okay. Oh, I gotta have insurance. Oh, let me write down what kind of insurance. And then someone with a brain starts making phone calls. And they start putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. And next thing you know, you drive by that banquet hall, and so is gonna do, I don't know, we're gonna do a metal fest. I'm gonna have 3 of my friends' bands play with my band. And the metal scene is dead there. But yet people like it, but it's dead there because, some club owner told you, no, we don't, and that's fine. You respect the club owners, right? We don't do it here, we don't do it there, no, we don't, nobody likes it, right? And then you get on YouTube, and then you got friends that's in your same area that, wow, I wish we had a metal scene. Wow, I wish you had, if you had 100 people saying the same thing and you come up with the idea to rent out the banquet hall, all of a sudden, you're doing the show, and next thing you know, you got 100 people because they have nowhere to go. Now all of a sudden, you created somewhere to go, and this is how things get started. The ball gets started rolling, and it does take money. And this is where the other, steady stream, extra streams of income, side jobs, whatever, as long as it's legal. So it's not all doom and gloom. But it can be if you're just thinking one way and you're putting all your eggs in just that one basket, and that basket already has a hole. The hole in the bottom of the basket is bigger than the top of the basket. That's how big the hole is. You just keep throwing the same thing and doing the same thing, and it just keeps going down the toilet, and it's like not working. So it's one way of thinking about this. And again, like I said, with the pricing, if you're gonna do any type of a traveling, that's when you gotta, look at the big picture, and then put that into the equation. And you'd have to decide what you want to charge people. And it doesn't mean you're always gonna get that gig, but what can help you get the gig, it's like this. I'm sorry if I'm jumping around here. I don't mean to, but I'll give you. It just popped in my mind a good comparison. If anybody remembers the old Trading Times newspapers. And people were selling all kind of stuff, lawnmowers and furniture, and then I'm being a musician, looking at the music section, right? I would see Fender amps for sale. This guy's selling it, or a Marshall half stack, paid $1,500 for it. They're trying to get $900, or best offer. You know what the best offer means? We can negotiate the price. That's what that means. So when you are selling your gig to a client. Let's say you got an online booking agency, or you got someone that wants to hire you, right? Hey man, they come up to you and say, you know what? I noticed that you play more like jazz oriented music, and we kind of like that, What would you charge? You'd say, I don't know, maybe $900. What's it? Or and then turn around and say, well, what's in your budget? Well, you know what? I was thinking, could you? Well, 900 is kind of stiff, but I mean, I really like what you're playing. And I really want to do this event, and I really, would like to have you. I don't have 900. I got 750. We do 750. And if you decide to go for 750, thinking you're only gonna make $300, well, 750 is more than $300. Now, I will say this: if you got a full band, this could be pretty tough, because if you got a 4-piece band and you're trying to get $750 for each member, then you got to do the math of what you're gonna charge. Not saying you couldn't do it, but just keep that in mind. When we were doing all these shows, again, getting back to this, she knows business. She knows how to negotiate. She knows how to talk with the clients. And I'm very blessed and fortunate, because what I could do is concentrate on the music. And she would tell me this: okay, we got this event, and they're looking for someone to play classical guitar, so I work on pieces and that. And they like she'll say, they like what you're doing, okay, work on those pieces. Or they kind of want a mix of everything, they like you to rock out a little bit, but not too heavy, Know what you have to do to get that gig. And and have a style of music that you really enjoy playing, because part of getting hired, they see you're very passionate. Okay? And it doesn't matter what kind of music you're playing. If you're doing rocked out, it's going to be high energy, passion for that. If you're doing stuff that's laid back, sometimes that's, you'll get a lot of those gigs. And it's really considered background music, but I'm going to tell you something with this. If you think those people are not paying attention, they are. And you know how they might not be doing a lot of this, because, it's a let's say corporate event, and your background music. And instead of doing this, they fill up that tip jar. I remember when we would play at the Drake Hotel in Oak Brook Terrace, Oak Brook, Illinois. And it was in their lounge. We get hired, and we get some people clapping, and we get some people that are just, talking with each other and that. But man, we would walk away with some nice tip money and a good pay too. And part of that reason how we were getting that gig is they liked what we were doing, and Deb does not price gouge. That right there is key. So for people who think they cannot do things with music, there's all these options, And it might not be as glamorous as the big stage. But here's the perception with this. The big stage, I'm going to make all this money. A lot of people think this. And it's quite often, it's the opposite. Because the big money got spent on all that stuff you see on the stage. Or if they're advertising. Or if you're going to travel a little bit. All that money has to be distributed out to pay for the cost of it. Or you're going to rent out the room. Usually if that happens, you got to think about that. If you're going to do the stage shows, which is what we call it's ticket sales, take in consideration how much it's going to cost to rent the room out, and then find out what day of the week is the cheapest within your budget, and just don't get too discouraged if you don't make a whole lot of money. Don't get discouraged. Don't expect it, and don't get discouraged. Because if your show is a success, it's a real pleasant surprise. It's a great surprise. And what it does, it teaches you how to be realistic and not spend all this money and just, lose control of everything. So for the parents out there that want to get their kids involved in it, there is these other avenues. If you're gonna do it yourself, rent out a facility to put on showcases. This is another thing. We used to have showcases. And what is a showcase? A showcase is you're definitely gonna do a performance. This is what I do in whatever style of music, or if it's a tribute act, advertise it as that. But understand, know what your budget is. Because if you're going to advertise, that costs. If the place requires, like the casinos, we play the casinos, they want insurance. Now, how we got the casino gig. Let me touch on this. I know Tim Conley drums. He talked about the casino gigs, and he's right what he's talking about. Because there's another form of getting casino gigs where you try out for it, and they pick who they want, and you start doing that circuit. We didn't have to do that because we got booked for these private parties, and I'll never forget this. The first private party was it was a place called the Paradise Casino in East Peoria, Illinois. The first gig we did, they were very much impressed. And they started having these functions, and they started hiring us. And we would play in the casino quite a few times, and then they decided to move it because the Paradise Casino was on a boat on the river there, but then they had the hotel there. Then they would have it was a function for all the high rollers, and for all the people spending all the money. Hotel, we're going to give them a meal and show their appreciation because they've been helping support the hotel and the casino. So we're gonna do these functions for them, these luncheons for them, and showing our appreciation. And they would hire me. I would drive down to East Peoria, set up in a room. I think the guy's name was John. And they were kind of sad that we were relocated down here to Florida, but it is what it is. They were happy for us, though. But the first time we did the gig at that casino, they asked us for insurance, and Deb looked into it, and right away got the insurance and that, and boom, we were golden. And to this day, we continue to keep that insurance because any place we want to go to, if they require it, boom. A lot of musicians don't don't take that into consideration. It's liability insurance we got, and it would really help. It's an extra expense. So let's say your parents and you have a teenage son or daughter that is they got a unique way of playing, and I'm use the guitar as the instrument because it's the instrument I know, right? So let's say they're a jazz guitar, they're interested in jazz, and they want to get into this world, and you're beating your head against the wall trying to find jazz clubs. All the jazz clubs have diminished down to like almost nothing. Wow, where can I go? Where can I go? To help my son or daughter. They're really interested in this. And is the end yet? Is it all done and over with? Not necessarily, because again, you could, if you're willing to flip the bill, say, hey, wait a minute. You know what? We went to our neighbor's wedding, and our son happened to play there just for it, and there was an interest. There was like, wow, your son's really good, man. This is great. I really like this. And you're good when you got people that don't know who you are coming up to you and saying, you know what, that was really good. I enjoyed it, man. That's awesome. So when you get people coming up to you and saying, wow, your son or daughter's really good, and how come they're not a big star in that? Well, that's another topic right there. Listen to what they're saying, and listen how they're saying it. They're coming up to you and they're saying, man, this is great. And if you get the idea in your head, say, hey, you know what? I wonder, how much did you pay for this room? Oh, I have X amount of dollars. Let's say it's a anniversary party. You know, they hire you happen to they have a DJ, but then since you're friends and neighbors and that, hey, have your son or daughter play a couple of tunes, yeah, and then they your son or daughter just wows everybody. Boom, right there, you got an opportunity to help your kids, you know, start to go out there and play, but where you're able to, you know, supervise everything, so they're not in a bar and everything gets all wild and everything. And you asked again your friends or neighbor how much they rent a room, and they'd say, well, with everything, how much? That was $900 for how many hours? This is a 5 hour function. Okay, and then you say, well, I can't do it this year, but you know, you see throughout you already seen a couple of years. Your son and daughter had their interests, and they've been practicing, and they're learning this stuff, and the passion is there, and it's not going away. Okay, and you decide to say, well, you know what? You talk to the wife and say, you know what? I'd like to do something for the kids. You know, what can we do? Maybe that vacation we would go on that should cost us $2,000 the cruise. We were on a $4,000 cruise for a few days. Maybe we could use some of that money, and you know, $900 to rent a room, and maybe we could see what we could do here, because if all these people are interested, and they're willing to come out to see little Johnny or Kathy come out and play, and if they're willing, you know, to spend the money, if they'll be helping us out, they'll be getting you know, good performance. Since they enjoyed it so much, the hotel is not gonna say no, or the banquet hall is not gonna say no. They ask for your insurance. Yeah, I got that. You see what I mean? I know it's a much different approach, but this is one way of you getting yourself into the door. It's like you creating your own show, you creating your own scene, you creating. And when I hear people say, "Oh no, yeah," they're saying this because it costs money. And I'm not trying to downplay anybody or anything like that. But haven't you heard the term, I'll do anything to make it in music? I'll do anything in music, okay? But I don't want to pay to play. I don't want to do this. I want to, okay, all right. Then you want to spend someone else's money, and good luck. Maybe you will find someone to do it, but then maybe you won't. And then it's boo hoo hoo if it doesn't happen, and then I hate this and I hate that. When you could have backed up and looked at the big picture, because like I said, when we started doing these shows, when I met that, we started, man, I had an idea about this. I didn't know exactly how this was taken, how it was happening, until I got involved and I saw it. I'm like, whoa, this is a game changer. Then all of a sudden, the people start to contact you, and the reason why they do that, you know, let's say you're trying to find, you know, an agent to help you, or you know, this place that they want to open up the door to you, but then you know you want to play at their club and they slam the door in your face and no way, you're too far, and no, you're not doing the right kind of music, no, everyone likes Jimmy Buffett, or I'm not trying to pick on Jimmy Buffett, but they like this, that, they don't like what you're doing, and all of a sudden you prove them wrong, then boom, it's an instant turnaround, it's an instant 180, and then they start contacting you, and now you start realizing, aha, the name of the game is having the money and being persistent about it, and being respectful and everything. I mean, it's the whole big picture. But once you find out that one of your main resources is going to be money, and how well you handle and budget and spend it and all that, you see what I mean. Then the opportunities start to open up, and then you're creating a brand. It's no different than, like, this is the PRS when Paul Reed Smith started. When Paul Reed Smith started, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off here. I think the story goes, he built a couple of guitars, would go to concerts and solicit. It's, it, I mean, for like a better terminology, it's you're soliciting, but you're trying to be very professional and very respectful about it. Because if you think about it, that's what a lot of business has to do. It's got to solicit, right? You got to advertise. That's a form of soliciting. And I think it was Carlos Santana that really helped Paul Reed Smith get on the market. You know, his guitar to be like, wow, man, well known. But if he didn't have that persistency, you know, he would have fallen to the wayside. Like a lot of great companies that have, and the money. And to be fair about it, there's a lot of great companies that came and gone. What people call flash in the pan, and it's because they didn't have the money. They didn't have the money to continue, and a lot of them were advertising big color, you know, full page color ads in Guitar World magazine. And at the time, it was like, well, I know at the time, and I think it was 2007, for a full page ad, it was like $10,000, something like that. Because we used to get Deb's contact the sales rep, and they sent us all the packet with all the information. Not cheap. So, if you want to get the ball rolling for yourself within your budget, that's one way of doing it. Just find out what your budget is, find the places that will take that. And let's say if you know if you're out of your budget by a few $100s, and your heart is set on doing this, then save up the money and have a kind of a business plan here how you're going to do this. Don't quit that job. That's your solid source of income. Your extra spending money that you're going to blow on this, that, and the other, save that. You got the guitars, you got the amps, you got the PA systems, you got everything you need. And especially if you have the insurance and you're you know always paying on that, boom, you got the opportunity. Might be a little bit out of your budget. It might take a while, you know, to get a ball rolling. You might be able to do a show once a year, maybe once every 2 years. You know, if you're talking about like this type of a gig, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. So I hope this helps people out there, especially for the parents that got kids that they're looking at all these avenues. And until that big phone call comes from someone from Hollywood, do not discard all these other opportunities because they're there. They are definitely there, especially the for hire gigs. If you don't want to spend money, you don't have the money to rent places and out that, and you have a son or daughter that, or yourself, you know, you have this interest in other styles of music that you could actually use it as hire service. It's like people who do DJ. They're basically a music service. The difference is they're not really playing an instrument. Okay? And you probably say, yeah, but I don't play all that dance music, I don't play that. That's fine. There are people out there that do like all kinds of music. You don't see them too much because it's like they got pushed aside. So, anyways, my friends, in closing, I hope this does help. And don't get discouraged, and if you need to have other sources of income, by all means do that. Everyone's financial situation is different. Oh wow, what's that? Oh, this thing's okay. Wow, that was weird. Yeah, don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. So we do have a show on Friday. We're doing the music walk, and then we have a show Sunday. We're at Miramar Outlets. So, and we will. I think Miramar Outlets we're playing 1 to 4. That's on Sunday. Friday is 6 to 10. I think. Yeah. And again, guys, I know some of these topics that I'm talking about and the ways of doing this is so much different than what the norm is. But again, these opportunities are there. It's all about getting yourself out there and getting your music out there and networking with people. And another thing that we do before was, renting out booths at either farmers market or art shows, and have, especially with the farmers market, because what's with the farmers market, you get restaurant owners that come through, and let's say you have a particular style of music, and it could be any kind of style of music. You could have people all walks of life, and you get someone they got. Let's say if you're into country music, and there's so and so they open up like a country music, but they want it a little bit more on the elegant side. They don't want the norm, and you happen to fit the bill. You're doing something acoustically or solo acoustic or solo electric, and they just like what you're doing, and boom, you make that connection. You're not gonna know unless you're there. And this is what I mean with these types of functions, farmers markets. If that's what you're looking for, you get into restaurants. That's one way you get into it, because they actually see you play there. Because I'm telling you, a lot of restaurant owners, they're always looking for ways to make their restaurant unique. And a lot of it will start for the food because they're a restaurant. And then they happen to go walking around and they see at a farmer's market, see you playing, and they see your friend who's a painter and artist. Oh man, I got this one spot on the wall that would look real good, and you start building up these relationships, man. But if you're not out there, you're not gonna meet these people. So don't disregard these other opportunities and make it look like, wow, I'm devaluing myself. You're not devaluing yourself, because when you put yourself in the service market, now you're building a business. Now you could come up with a fair price that they want, but if they're too low, you could say, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm just, maybe we could do something next year. Always be polite. If you need to hold your price, hold your price. Don't devalue yourself. Don't price gouge. Don't devalue yourself. Know how to be right in that middle. And the people with money, especially ones who really want you, somehow, some way, they're gonna come up with the money and they'll hire you. And then when they see that you're easy to work with, you conduct yourself properly, you're very respectful to your customers, you're respectful to them, you're respectful to the staff, boom, man, it's a win-win situation. Trust me, a lot of times, the gigs that we have gotten, the repeated gigs, is because they know that they can count on us. We're not gonna do them wrong, and they understand that we need to make money, and we understand that they need to make money. It's everyone working together, my friends. That's what it is. Anyways, guys, I hope this has been helpful. And again, a shout out to Bad Brad on that video, and Tim Conley drums. And yeah, Brad, that was a real smart statement, telling those people that, look, tell your kids, stay in school, get a good job. It's not discourage anybody from pursuing their music. Pursue it with money, and pursue it with respect, and self-respect. Don't devalue yourself. And the people who have the money, and the people who have the money most likely have brains to earn that money. They're gonna see that in you, and they're gonna like, yeah, you know what? Let's go with this guy, or let's go with this gal, and then they'll highly recommend you to other people. When you conduct yourself good, conduct yourself respectfully, and you're a good player and everything, ooh, it's a win-win, man. It's a win-win. And then when the ball starts rolling in that direction, then you start forgetting about the phone call from Hollywood that never comes. The phone call from Hollywood, you know when it comes? And I figuratively speaking, but a little bit more on the truthful side. Those type of phone calls, they'll call you when they see you making money, because they want to jump on that bandwagon too. For the most part, not all the time. There's some there, but for the most part, they see you're making money, they want in on the action. Now, this is when you get the power, because you could say, well, you know what? Tell you what, how about next year? Right now, we're a little bit busy, as opposed to saying, we don't need you now. Where were you when I needed you? I don't need you now. Once you figure out the name of the game, And once you realize that, hey, I could do this on my own, I don't need these people, boom, you're in business. Think about it, that's how businesses get started. And once they know how to survive, you know how you survive? Watch your spending, watch your budget. And start it where it's nice and slow, easy, steady Eddie. You've got to keep that day gig, you know, build up that savings for this business so that you got enough money to float that boat. You know, a lot of people, this is what they do. This is exactly what they do. And then they walk away from that business when they know they financially have enough money over here in the business account. And then they got their personal account. And everything is like, it's in the black. It's not in the red. Everything is okay. Now we could see we could do this. The only thing with music is that it's a want, it's not a need. That's the only thing. But if you could position it where it becomes more of a need, music therapy, have a division of your music business where you'd say, hey, you know what? You got all these kids, and they're looking for some sort of party. They don't have, because I do a lot of the charters, you know, taking these kids everywhere, and it costs money to rent out those buses, and it costs money to rent out, like this place over here, Sunsplash, like $1,000 to get these kids over, and then, wow, man, it's like, you know, you got like 56 kids you're taking over there. What could we do? Hey, how about we hire, you know, a clown twisting balloons? Hey, we got a DJ. Hey, you play guitar and your music fits what these kids like. Hey, we want to come and do the gig, or you offer it to the gig, to facility, to park districts and things of that nature. You would be surprised, man. You would be surprised. Or like the senior centers, you know, assisted living facilities. For the ones who can't go out, see if you can play there. Just understand your budget, your price, and plan your work and then work your plan, guys. Real simple. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. It does really mean a lot. And for any of my friends out there who whether you're in the art world, because I see some of them as in the art world, or the music, you're in the music and that, and who had started YouTube channels and they kind of get discouraged, or they want to start a YouTube channel and they get discouraged. They're afraid that no one's going to watch them, no one's going to like them. Don't let that bother you, because I got people who don't like me or don't watch. That's fine. I don't take it personal. But if it's a passion that you have, then go for it and just build a wall of resistance against negativity. Don't feed into it. Try not to be, you know, insulting in that. Just don't feed into it. Just build up that wall and continue to move forward. Because one thing I learned with what they call the haters out there, it pisses them off when you don't give them any acknowledgement, man. They don't like that, and that's fine. But don't even worry about that, because you know I see some people, they wanna share their passion, and they get intimidated, they're afraid that no one's gonna like them and that. You know, if you touch one person's heart, you touched a lot, right there. Just think about that. You know, it matters. Anyways, guys, we will do our live stream Friday. The weather's supposed to be good, considering we're hitting in hurricane season. The humidity is supposed to be low, especially for Sunday. I'm excited about that. And let's see if I add some more new songs in that. And like I said, I leave these live streams up so people could enjoy later on at their convenience. Okay? All right, my friends, you have a great evening. We will see you on Friday. Until then, stay strong, safe, and true. Rock on, and God bless. Take care now. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Dale Palmer, and everyone out there. Thank you.